Batman and Robin, issue 23, legacy number 89, Philip Kennedy Johnson writing with Miguel Medoncha on the art. So, Robin is, well, he's not technically kidnapped anymore. He's technically free in that Undercity because he ends up interacting with the, what were the kids called? The Undesirables or something?
The Irregulars.
Irregulars, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're also undesirable, but maybe I'm projecting my
That's
own
me. They're street urchins. Bruce sees a lot in them. So they're irregular, not what'd you call them? Unredeemable?
I've forgotten now.
Undesirable.
Undesirable, yes.
Yeah.
Undesirable, expendable is another word you can maybe throw out there.
That was the original name of the Robins, Expendable 1 and Expendable 2. So, you know. But yeah, I loved all that stuff with Robin down in the you know, it's not a forgotten city, but it's like the remnants of old Gotham. And he's fashioned himself like a domino mask out of scraps of his shirt, you know, and I just like that whole vibe.
I think Domino Mask has been a bit kind. I would say it's more like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just like tied around his head kind of number.
Yeah, I didn't know what that's called though, because I just know that the mask, I don't want to call it a Zorro mask, although that's kind of closer to what it is.
Kind of.
Right? It even has the ties and stuff. So him fashioning that so he can save the kids and fight whatever the hell Memento is, because we know it's a demon of some kind, right? But with all of these bodies coming out of him, there's this Cronenberg-esque take to him now that we're getting out of. It's gone from Fincher to Cronenberg, and that's a compliment. Just there's some creepy vibes, but you know, Damien's standing up to him, which is cool.
Yeah. The book starts with like basically witnessing what happened when Nicholas Crowe tried to summon this demon that is Memento Mori. And Memento Mori didn't take Nicholas Crowe's body. It instead took his child, because
his son,
it's more interested in causing pain than killing someone. So all of a sudden the idea that it's after Damien to punish Batman makes a lot of sense. So this is all stuff that Batman is seeing through the mirror with Etrigan kind of showing off the memories of the supernatural stuff. So that kind of sets that stuff up. That's kind of our opening scene. And then, like you say, there's a lot of stuff in the Undercity with Damien jumping out and helping the kids and trying to fight off Memento Mori, and the kids being like, wait, I think that's Robin. Is that Robin? Are you Robin? So I think that's a good fun little bit, because it's like Robin or Damien being like, oh, he's been a hero to these kids down here and he's inspiring them and he's protecting them. It's kind of sweet in a lot of ways, especially since when one of them is in trouble later and he flashbacks to that girl that got hurt back in the first issue of this whole thing. It was kind of a big deal for him to like jump and dive at him to try and save him.
Yeah, and the doctor, right? That he was mentoring, or the doctor was mentoring Damien.
Yeah.
Right? That goes to that too. So those two big things. And yeah, so it pulls the threads together for Damien. You know,
also, I really like that No Man's Land and the earthquake is still something that gets brought up every once in a while. It's something that just fundamentally changed Gotham. That it's still, no matter how many reboots or like recanonized things we've done, No Man's Land always happened, because it's just too cool to think about the fact that, oh, a giant earthquake like buried some of the city and like, you know, covered things up, and there's all this stuff that we can refer back to.
And just the idea of Gotham having that cave structure underneath it, right? Because I know Wayne Manor's on the outskirts of town, but still, they've played with that. It's very cavernous beneath there. So if you know, an earthquake did open up, Gotham would be kind of a fun city to mess around with that. So, but I just, the way the Memento Mori looks with the old timey hat, right, with the stovepipe hat and the death mask, even with all the bodies up, he just matches the rest of old Gotham down there. It's almost like it is a hell version of Gotham, and he's, you know, dressing to fit in, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I just love what Philip Kennedy Johnson's doing here with you know, we're getting an actual demon. And, you know, we had complained, because I wasn't on for the last one, right? But when Batman goes off with Intrigan, that finally resolved that, we're like, Batman's literally met demons before. And I do like that here, even though this is a supernatural thing, it doesn't change the way that Batman's going about it.
Yeah,
right?
for the
He's
record
still
though, I still
Yes.
complained last issue because all it did was highlight how dumb he was being before by refusing to believe that something supernatural was happening. See, there's Etrigan. Like,
Right.
he's standing right here, damn it.
Right. But I do like the thing is like, yeah, okay, the supernatural, but there's still rules.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
there's still a way that he can go to it, and still be Batman. So I do like that it kind of resolves that a little bit.
yeah, I mean, obviously, like we've said it almost every issue for like the last 5 or 6, so I won't repeat it too much. I'll just say that it's been the only negative to this arc is that disconnect of why does Batman so adamantly refuse to accept that there's something supernatural to the killer. But as it plays out, and obviously the Dead City's referencing the city underground, Batman finds his way down there, has his big dramatic entrance, and there's actually there's like a really like weird surreal moment in the car on the way over where he's still seeing visions because of the poppy, and like Alfred right in his head starts talking to him and saying, hey, I remember moments and nights like this where I was on the radio and you were going out to do whatever. What do you need me to say tonight, Master Bruce? And Batman basically says, Alfred, what if he and he sort of pauses, and it's basically Batman worried that what if he's already dead? Like, what if I'm too late? And then he doesn't say that. He doesn't finish his sentence. He just says, do you think he's scared? And Lautrec's just kind of looking over at him. We get like a panel of him not really being sure of what he's saying or what he's talking about.
Shrek and the monkey. Yeah. They're both looking at him concerned. Like, who the hell is he talking to?
And then ultimately the voice from Alfred just says, his father will be there, Master Bruce. So it's like a nice little moment of like these weird visions like actually helping him for a brief second. But yeah, we get this full page spread of Batman like sort of like blowing in from the top of this like buried city and coming down, landing in the smoke. There's like no words on this page, well, unless you count the sound effect letters, but they aren't in narration boxes, they aren't in bubbles, they're just kind of part of the image. And yeah, we get the sweet reunion where Batman says he's sorry and Damian says he's okay. In fact, and it's worth mentioning as well, is like, when the kids were saying, are you Robin? There's a moment where Damian's like, yeah, I think I am, which is kind of like paying off this, like he was going to like stop being Robin. That was like part of this arc. And this is him realizing, no, I am Robin. I'm going to save these kids. So it feels like he's committed again to being that. So that's cool. Anyway, so Batman says, hey, you've done a good job protecting these kids. Let's take care of business. And they go looking for Memento Mori. Well, Batman does. Robin goes to get the kids out. So the big thing that happens here, though, is that Lautrec's also exploring and finds the last of the cult alive. And well, things don't end too well, because Batman finds her like a page later, and she has been hit in the neck with a sledgehammer by this guy, and he starts yelling, what have you done? Now, I assume she was just dead instantly. The only reason why I question that a little bit is on the last page, it looks like both her and Batman have been tied to a post, and I don't think I get why they would tie her to a post if she was dead, so she might just be very badly injured.
Yeah. Well, it's very Blair Witch too. He's standing in the corner, and you can't tell that he has the hammer, right? So she comes across this person standing in the corner, and it's super creepy. That
first panel when she walks in, yeah.
And so then he says Memento Mori, and it cuts away, and then we come in, and that she's on the ground, and then when Memento pops up behind Bruce, right, and Bruce is yelling, "What have you done?" If you zoom in on, if you're reading it on the tablet, the face looks like Professor Bly, right? And so just again, some fun stuff with the art there, because it's not the same face that Memento's had throughout this, right? It's not that death mask. So very, very curious to see where this goes here, because that's also how she's looking for Professor Bly. They hear his voice. He calls the voice calls Bruce Young Jack, so. There's some very, very creepy things still going on here.
Yeah, and that ties in because we know that he's using that body. We've known that for at least a couple issues at this point. So that all makes sense. And Batman and Lautrec are finally on board with this whole idea of like, oh, the killer's like possessing different people as time goes on. And obviously the plan might be here for ultimately to possess Damian. So obviously that raises the stakes. Batman's got a reason to really want to stop it. Yeah, no, it was a good issue. I mean, it was really creepy. There was a lot of spooky vibes because of the setting, and like you say, that Blair Witch style moment and the surprise, either death or almost death, was really well handled. But there was also some touching stuff with Robin and him sort of like getting to more towards the end of his arc here, where he's realizing who he is. He's making these big decisions, and it seems to be repairing Batman and Robin's relationship. Yeah, this feels like it's coming together very nicely, where it feels like everything's kind of like fallen into place, and now we've just got the conclusion to wrap up with. So, oh, cool. Yeah. So yeah, the final page, because I did notice when they're tied to the post, it's a lamppost, and the panel looking down with the light around them was very like the Wayne murders in the alleyway. And the final page is like Batman's looking over, Memento's got a gun to his head, and there's like, the image of the parents lying in the light circle across from them with Joe Chill. Which, like I always make fun of whenever writers go back to this, but this of course is him on the poppy. This is him seeing the so presumably Memento's taking them to Crime Alley. That's my summation of what this is.
Well, no, they talk about that they're still in the under Gotham, because they talk about that there was these type of lamps there that the area was known for underneath.
Oh, sure. I mean, I just the ending made me think they went to Crime Alley because he's seeing what happened in Crime Alley, because that's where they are. But I mean, maybe you're right. Yeah,
but I mean, emotionally, that's where Bruce is, because that's why he's seeing it. And again, I have an issue with seeing the Wayne murders again. However, the entire arc's been about death and the remembrance of death, right? That's what Memento Mori means.
We've been seeing different people who have died in Gotham all arc. So the idea that we eventually saw the Waynes isn't that shocking, And
I want to give Medoncha credit. There's no pearls, at least as I can see.
No, there is. There's pearls.
Are there? All right, I'm choosing not to see them, Pete.
You can see them around like near her neck and stuff. They're there.
Yeah. I'm not looking. I'm not gonna look. No pearls.
Hey, at least you didn't see them falling. You don't get the panel of them falling down.
Yes. So, but yeah, he's stood up there. He's got a gun to his head by Memento, who looks back as the regular version. The very Jack the Ripper-esque. So yeah, and they're teasing it's the finale next time. So curious to see where this goes, how it's resolved. Because if it is a demon, we know that the demons in DC have these strict rules on how to handle them. So like, what's going to be the thing? Is someone going to have to sacrifice himself to get Memento away? Because he does come in cycles, right? So what's the game here? I'm very curious.
Yeah. And I did like the art, so I think it adds a lot of atmosphere, a lot of spooky vibes, especially towards the end. But even the big action stuff like Batman bursting through the roof and all that was still pretty good too. So yeah, I mean, if I have any critique, it's just that sometimes reading the demon speak with the rhyming is just a little bit annoying. But that's about it. It's not too often though, so it's not a big deal.
No, but it fits with the whole, nursery rhyme kind of thing with Memento at the beginning. So I'm glad it's been consistent. So they're still doing it here at the end. But yeah, no, good stuff. Philip Kennedy Johnson's one of the writers that when it's time to read one of his books, I get excited. Right, because there's definitely more hits than misses. Same with like Ram B and Kelly Thompson, Dan Waters. These are my quiver of favorite writers right now. So, and they're all really killing it. So yeah.
All right, what are you giving Batman and Robin, Matt?
I'm giving this an 8.5.
Yeah, I might even go to the 9. It's honestly hard to argue why it doesn't get to that point for me, because I was really digging the vibe. Maybe as a slow start with a flashback, maybe that's like one thing I could ding it for. I'll say, I'll be nice, I'll give it the 9.